You're listening to the Frankly Podcast. To submit a question to the podcast, go to franklypodcast.co.nz. This episode is kindly supported by the fabulous women at Bonk Lube. I'm Jen and I pass as straight because I'm married, but I'm actually bisexual, and being married to a man doesn't make me not bisexual or not attracted to one.
And I'm Bex. I'm also, I guess, technically straight passing, but didn't even know that straight was a thing until I was like 14, and I said to two of my guy mates, I was like, oh, you know, it'd be so hot if you guys kissed, and they're like, oh, I don't want to. I'm like, I thought everyone was bi. I thought that was the norm because it just wasn't talked about. So I was like, But yeah, I'm bi. I'm married to a man who is also bi, and we have a bunch of children.
A
little collection of them.
So I guess I'll start with when I was like 7.
Yeah.
I first realised I was into boys.
Yeah.
Because I would stalk them.
Ah, I see.
Or serenade them. I once serenaded one, and freaked him the fuck out.
Oh my God, that's kind of cute.
I apologise if you...
How old were you when you serenade him?
Yeah, like 7.
Oh,
it's my parents' fault. I had a little amp with a kick drum.
It's like proper like movie style, so you like got these ideas from the films.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And then not that far after that, I watched Edward Scissorhands, and I got like some tingling, some feelings.
Oh, yes.
Feelings I hadn't felt before.
Yeah.
And later on, I developed crushes on girls through media, but not in real life for quite a while.
Yeah.
How about you?
Gosh, I'm trying to think. I think when I was, God, I must have been tiny, but I had this, not a Barbie, but Teresa, Barbie's friend Teresa.
Yeah.
She's like beautiful, and I was just like, I want to marry somebody like this. She's so beautiful, and I still have her, but she's only got one arm now. Like she's missing a forearm, but she was like my first crush, I think. And then I think my first like celebrity crush was probably Jonathan Taylor Thomas, because the Tool Time was always on Home Improvement. You're like, oh shit, yeah, like he was so like such a babe to me. And then I was like, you know, the boy band era, so I was like, oh, Scott from Five. But then I was like, oh, I kind of like all these girls. I mean, like I was in love with Jerry Halliwell. Like I wanted to be her. I wanted to be on her. Like I was just like, I loved her. And like when she left the Spice Girls, I fucking bawled my eyes out. I was like laying in bed sobbing. Like that was like my first heartbreak. I was like, I'm not going to see her anymore.
Proper grave. No.
I was like, oh, she was so like, she was just like the peak sexy to me. I didn't talk to my friends about it a lot, but I just thought everybody felt the same way, you know, like I just thought everyone must feel this way. Like it wasn't discussed in my family. It wasn't discussed anyway. So I just assumed that was the norm. Yeah. And then, it just kind of went from there.
Yeah. I knew I wasn't a lesbian because I had crushes on boys. Yeah. But I'd never heard of anyone talking about being into both.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
Pan wasn't a word that I only heard the word, God, like probably 5 or 10 years ago. Like not very long ago.
It was my 20s, and I was like,
okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, my aunt is a lesbian. Yeah. And so from a very young age, I was like, yeah, this is just what it is. Yeah. My grandparents didn't. They were like, this is her special friend.
This is her special friend.
Her special friend that she's been with for like 20 years.
It's her flatmate.
Yeah,
she's just always got a flatmate. Yeah. It's the same one every time.
And I remember my grandmother telling me that she was so, like, that my aunt was so beautiful and that, like, that was why she was into men. Like, that's why she was, essentially she was desirable.
Yes.
As though being a lesbian or bi was something that wasn't, you're not being desired by men, so you would be worth less or something.
Yes.
It wasn't a jab. She just genuinely thought that was the case. Yeah. So I remember thinking, oh, okay.
She can't be because she's femme.
No. It was just
It was just a strange,
But, yeah, I think that for me turned into kind of when I was a teenager, getting a few crushes on people I didn't really know that well in high school. But I never, like, did anything about it because it was so much easier to be or seem straight.
Yeah.
And it still is.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. It's still, because people run on that assumption that you are. You are unless you are overtly gay or overtly lesbian or overtly proudly displaying. And it's like you have the same on the opposite side as well. If you're in a same-sex relationship or if you're in a relationship with like somebody who's gender fluid and things, as long as if they present the same in a similar way to you, or they present femme or they present butch or whatever, like people are like, oh, like they can't be bi because they're with this person. And why would you be bi and then with somebody of the same sex as you? Like, why would you be with somebody with the same gender ID as you if you are bi? Like, why don't you just go? And like, it's more, I don't know, like I feel from my own experiences, it's been more acceptable to be bi and then married to a man than it is to be bi and dating a woman or dating somebody who's non-binary, because you're almost considered to be a traitor. It was this thing of, and you're like,
absolutely,
and I think as well, especially being, very femme, the whole idea of being femme and bi, it's like, oh, you're every male's fantasy, because they watch so much lesbian porn, and then they're like,
I had to explain this to a lot of male friends.
And it's like normalized to them that it's it's cool and hot. And I think the amount of men that I know that also run on the assumption that every woman is bi or at least bi-curious, but only in a way that makes their bi-curiosity or bisexuality a spectator sport for them.
Exactly, as though we would want to invite them in on it. Yeah. And I had to explain what lesbianism was to quite a few guys, particularly in my 20s, because they thought that because of porn, so that the messaging is that, that they're doing that for you to watch, and they would really like you to join it. Yeah. But that's not the case.
They're just waiting and hoping for you and your wing to turn up and be like, hey.
Yeah, you're just waiting for a real man.
Yeah, just waiting to be set straight. Exactly. Just reset. Just give him that hard reset. And look, it's fine now. It's like, oh, she does like boobies, but she also really loves my dick. Therefore, it's okay because those are just for fun. And it is this whole thing of like, you like them for fun, but you really want to be with a man, or you know, and it's
like a suppressed desire. Yeah. As though it's not. That's the thing I don't understand about it is, do they not think about how easy it is to be straight? Yeah. It's so much easier. Yeah. Because then you're going with everything. I told my parents, I listened to a guy called Dan Savage. He does like the Savage Lovecast. Oh, yeah. It's like a podcast. I recommend that people listen to it. It's pretty hardcore, but it's awesome. And he talks about how everyone needs to come out, obviously, when they're comfortable. But even if you're bi and you pass as straight, that's even more important that you come out in some ways. Yeah. Because it changes people's ideas of
what that looks like.
And that we don't all have to sit on this, one or the other, or the middle. There isn't. No. It's a spectrum.
It's like, it's like personalities. Like, not everybody that likes sport in the same way. Yeah. Not everyone who likes men like men in the same way. Not everyone who likes women like women in the same way. And there is this huge spectrum. It's like, and people think it's this 50-50 thing, and then there's like, if especially within the male community, it's like, oh, I don't care if he's bi, just as long as he doesn't hit on me. It's like, why do you think you're his type? Like, you're not even your wife's type, like she don't even like you very much. Why do you think your mate who sees the worst of you and your worst behavior is going to be like super into you just because he's attracted to men? Like, so many men just have this entitlement, and they feel like they're entitled to everyone being attracted to them and everyone wanting them, and they have this expectation that everybody does, and it's like,
no. And it's okay if they don't. Yeah. It's okay if someone isn't into you. Yeah. Why is this such a big deal? Yeah. In fact, like I always, I've had friends who were, nervous about asking people out and stuff. Yeah. And I get it. I get the rejection thing. But when you kind of think of it from the point of view that if you do it in a nice way and not a sleazy way, and you ask someone out, then really all they're going to feel is a compliment. Yeah. That's all it is. Yeah. That's the worst it is.
If you're doing it in a way that isn't like obnoxious, and you're not being like, hey, like, you need to do this and that with me, and or messaging them at 3 o'clock in the morning being like, you up, babe? Like, fuck off. But if you're like, hey, like, you know, I think you're a really awesome person and I'd love to take you on a date if you want to.
Yeah.
And you frame it in a way where you are asking for their consent for that almost.
Exactly.
And then it's like, oh, you know, like I'm seeing someone, or, you know, like I'm not feeling like dating right now or whatever. Mm-hmm. Then, you know, yeah, they're not going to, you know, you don't need to feel embarrassed that you had that no, because, you know, you aren't, nobody is everybody's taste, you know.
All right, I am going to go to our questions.
Okay.
Do guys really care about boob size?
Do they? I mean, I have really big boobs. I've always I was like, my first bra was when I was 11 and I went straight into a C cup. You know what? No, they don't. Like, it's just not. They don't care as much as people think. I think there's a pressure on them to look like they do, but they actually don't. You know, it's not something that, it's not something that's been like this huge I'll get pointed at a lot. Like, you know, like they might walk past me, or they do walk past me, but they forget that they're not behind it's like an observation tank, you know, but I'm in a mall and I'm like watching them and they're like, I'm like, I can fucking see you.
It's like the most primal version of themselves. Yeah. I feel like that's true, but also I've had straight women look at my breasts too. Yeah. Like, I don't think I think it's just a person thing. It's not necessarily sexual. No, it's just an observation. They're like, oh, look, babies. Although I definitely talked to people, men mainly, who have just looked at them, and depending on what I'm wearing, but they have just looked at them and they clearly have no idea that I can see them just like really like looking. Yeah, they're like and I'm like, how do you not know that it's that obvious to you? I like it. The ones that I like are the ones that sit there and they're like the glance, and they're like trying not to look, and they're like looking, and they're just like, you see them like you see the eyes, and they start getting real intense, staring at you, and they're like, well, at least they're trying. They try their best. Very sweet. But no, I think other than from an observational standpoint, no. I totally agree with you. I mean, I don't have really giant, like, I don't have huge tits, but, you know, I'm happy. Yeah. Fine. But I think that there are people who really like breasts, who are really into them. Oh, yeah. I think the vast majority of people like them. Yeah. But I don't think it matters how big they are. Yeah. I think most people, and I'm going to be real general here, most people will be like really happy to just be with you, especially if you're naked. They're like, if you're both naked, we're just happy to be here. Yeah, I'm happy to participate. Yeah. I think, and it does suck because there is so much pressure, especially nowadays, like that body shape is back in, you know, to have the curves, to have the titties, to have the butt. Yeah, and it's just like, you know, it is plastered as ideal, and especially when you're hearing like your male peers talking about how, you know, I fucking love Kim Kardashian, I love this and I love that and I love her body, and so you're like, do I have to look like that to feel attracted? Yeah. Like, no, they're just fucking grateful that you're there. Like, you're showing interest in them. Excited. They're just grateful. Like, and that doesn't change with age either. No. This is one thing that I always thought that maybe this was a young person. No. You know, like they were just excited to be there because, you know, that didn't happen very often. No, it doesn't change. Yeah. The reaction I have gotten is the same. It's like, they're just really happy. I'm happy too. So it's good. It's like, a good time. It's like when you come home from work, if you've got a dog, and the dog's just like, oh my God, you came home yesterday and you came home today. You come home. Yes. Yeah, so I think any tits are good tits. Yeah. For I get that you could feel what's the word? You could feel kind of insecure about different things. Like, I have really big nipples. Yeah. I didn't know I did until my cousin. I was changing when I was younger, and my cousin, she's younger than me, and she just blurted it out. She was like, you have biscuit nipples. I had never heard of this ever before. Oh my God, and I was just like kind of horrified. And now I'm like, yeah. Please like and subscribe to this video if you'd like to be notified when a new episode goes live.